If you travel to Kabul, you'll see mountains, ancient giants, their peaks lost in the clouds. In their shadow people whisper of a king who is not dead, but sleeping. Zohak, the Serpent King, they say he's chained deep beneath the earth, his anger growing with every century. When the ground trembles, it's not the earth shifting, it's Zohak testing his bonds. The cold wind that sweeps down from the mountains, that's his breath, the echoes in the valleys, the hiss of the serpents growing from his shoulders. This is no bedtime story, it's a warning. Some evils are not destroyed, only imprisoned. And prisons, as everyone knows, don't last forever. Before he was a monster, Zohak was a man, a prince. His journey from light to shadow carved itself into the very land. To understand the monster beneath Kabul, you must first know the prince he once was. This is where our story begins. Zohak was once a prince, admired and strong, son of a just king. But inside him, ambition festered, a hunger for power that outgrew patience or love. Into his court came a stranger, charming and wise, or so he seemed. This was Ahriman, the devil in disguise, who saw the darkness in Zohak's heart. He whispered of glory, of a world at Zohak's feet, if only he seized it. Why wait for the crown when you can take it, the stranger urged. The prince listened and the seed of ambition grew into poison. Soon, Zohak saw his father not as a king, but as an obstacle. The devil's plan was simple, dig a pit in the king's favorite garden. The next morning, the old king fell to his death. Zohak took the throne, just as the stranger promised. But with the crown came a darkness that would demand a terrible price. The kingdom had a new ruler, and a curse was about to awaken. The devil's whispers were only the beginning. Zohak, now king, was greeted by Ahriman, who asked for one honor, to kiss the king's shoulders. Proud and unsuspecting, Zohak agreed. The devil's lips were cold as ice. The moment the kiss was given, he vanished. Agony tore through Zohak's shoulders, his flesh twisted, and from it, 2 black serpents emerged. The palace erupted in panic. Physicians tried to cut the serpents away, but more grew back, fiercer than before. Zohak was trapped, the serpents a living torment. In a dream, Ahriman returned, not as a counselor, but as a physician. He revealed the cure. The serpents craved human brains, 2 each day. To stop the pain, Zohak had to feed them. The king became a monster, his reign built on blood and terror. The kingdom's nightmare had begun. Zohak's curse was now the curse of all his people. The Serpent King's hunger would haunt the land for generations. The darkness had claimed its throne, and the people's suffering was only beginning. Every day, 2 young people were taken to feed the king's serpents. The kingdom, once joyful, drowned in fear and sorrow. Laughter vanished, hope faded. Zohak, now a recluse, sat on his throne, pale, tormented, a prisoner of his own curse. The people suffered, their lives reduced to sacrifices for the king's monsters. For 1,000 years, this terror reigned. The palace became a symbol of death, not justice. Yet even in darkness, a spark of defiance can ignite a fire. That spark was struck in the humble forge of a blacksmith. The legend of Zohak became a warning whispered from parent to child, but the time for whispers was ending. In a small village lived Kava, a blacksmith whose hands were strong and heart full of love. 17 of his 18 children had been taken by the king's guards. When they came for his last son, Kava's grief turned to fury. He refused to surrender his child, defying the king's men. Summoned to the palace, Kava stood before Zohak, unafraid. He cried out, condemning the king's cruelty and the river of innocent blood. His voice echoed through the fearful hall, awakening something long dormant in the people. Kava's defiance was a hammer striking a bell. Its sound resonated in every heart. He was no longer just a grieving father, he was the voice of a broken kingdom. His raw anger became a rallying cry. In that moment, Kava became a leader. The first spark of rebellion had been lit, the people listened, and hope flickered anew. The blacksmith's courage would change everything. The time for fear was over. Kava left the palace and marched to the city's marketplace. He tore off his blacksmith's apron, stained with honest labor, and raised it high on a spear. It became a banner, not of kings, but of the people. He called on everyone to rise up, to end the reign of the Serpent King. His words and the apron symbol ignited the crowd. Farmers, merchants, even soldiers joined him. The leather apron became their flag of hope and unity. Kava, the blacksmith, became the general of a people's army. They marched on the palace, their numbers swelling with every step. The sound of their march was the sound of 1,000 years of oppression breaking. They stormed the palace, overwhelming Zohak's guards. The Serpent King, once feared, now trembled before a united people. The reign of terror was ending. The blacksmith's apron had triumphed over the crown and the curse. Zohak was captured, his power broken. The people, led by Kava, dragged him from his throne. Execution was demanded, but Kava knew death was not enough. Instead, they took Zohak to a cave high in the mountains, a prison of cold stone and eternal shadow. There, they bound him in heavy chains, leaving him alive but powerless. The kingdom was free at last. Kava's apron became the Derafsh Kaviani, a symbol of victory for generations. Peace returned, but the legend endured. They say Zohak still waits, chained in darkness, his hatred growing. When the earth rumbles, the old ones listen for the hiss of serpents and the sound of breaking chains. Is evil ever truly defeated, or does it only sleep, waiting to rise again? What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more tales from the crossroads of history and myth. The Serpent King sleeps beneath the mountain, but legends, like chains, are never truly broken.